Hi everyone, hope you're out there. We've gone live. I hope we've gone live. We do this song dance every time. Hopefully we're live. It's January 8th, 2020. Happy New Year's, everyone. Happy New Year's resolutions. Hope you're having a good time and all is going well for you in your life. I hope I'm live. We'll find out here in a second. I'm out in the middle of the desert. Not a lot of places to get enough video bandwidth on cell phone. Oh, there we go. We're live. And so, hi everyone. I'm in a place that has a good cell signal. There's a tower nearby. So we're going to go live. Today's just going to be general questions and answers. I try to do that pretty often. I know a lot of you have questions, and we are always wrapped up in lots of activities for Homes on Wheels Alliance. Homes on Wheels Alliance is a nonprofit that my good friend and I, Sue Ann, co-founded. And so that's most of my activities now, along with a Cheap RV Living YouTube channel, go along with Homes on Wheels Alliance. So it's a big part of my life. We're doing a lot of good work for a lot of people, so it just comes up a lot. So we'll do announcements, and then we'll just go straight into questions and answers. I'll try and keep my questions and answers briefer so that I can get more, maybe not as in-depth, but more. I say that and think that every time, and it doesn't seem to ever happen. So we'll find out. A bit of a breeze. I'm a little concerned for wind, so I'm going to stay inside the van today. We won't have to have any worries about wind that way. Got to get my there we go. That should work, I hope. Let's put that down a bit, up a little bit, about in the middle. Hopefully that's about right. Not looking too much up my nose. Nothing pleasant in there, I can assure you. Okay, announcements. Oh, well, whiskey, let's see. Christine Beavers, hi from Georgia. Debbie Kokonis from Rhode Island. Jonathan Blazer from Switzerland. Let's see. How long have you been living on the road? TG Well. Well, let's see. I lived in 6 years in a van in Anchorage, Alaska, and then 12 years in the lower 48, all boondocking. So stealth camping for 6 years, boondocking for 12 years, so 18 years total. Joel Peterson, hoorah, from Reno, Nevada, cold country. I'm glad I'm not in Reno. Might get a lot of good snow up there. It's been a lot of snow. Diane Snyder, hi there. Hi to you. Good evening, Bob from Maryland. Sandra King, Rick Compton, VA. Ken from Collinsville, Illinois. Artist on the Road, New Hampshire. Larry Schumacher, hi from Ohio. Kathy Taylor, hi from North Carolina. We're all over the place. That's good. I like that. Matthew M., I'm joining you soon. Bob, good news. More the better. I know, people still stop me and grab me and say, hey, stop telling everyone. The places are getting full. There's plenty of room out here, folks. Don't believe them. Don't believe them. We just can't all pack into the same few tiny places. We've got to move around. Give the land a little breathing room. Frank from St. Paul, cold place. Carl Horn from Alaska, -44, real cold place. Man, I spent a lot of time. I lived in Alaska all my life, and a lot of cold times there. Okay, I better stop that. Now we'll do announcements. Get some more questions done. The first, I am going to, after the RTR in February, I am going to a RV Village rally in Live Oak, Florida. Big music festival place where they have camping, RV parking, of course, and boondocking. So I'll be going there February 12th through the 16th. I'm speaking on Saturday 16th. Am I speaking? Does it say here somewhere? 15th? On Saturday the 15th, I'm going to be speaking on the philosophy of nomadic living. I don't know enough about RVs to speak there because it's mostly RVers. And I know there's a bit of a cultural divide. They tend to be, seems like that's too close. It seems like it's sitting right on top of me. I'll fuss with it the rest of the night. You know me. It seems, there's a kind of a cultural divide with us and some RV communities. They're older. They're in these big, nice RVs. But I would really like to see us break that down. That's really artificial. It's not real. Underneath, we all have this love of being on wheels and moving. And I like us to find our similarities and kind of break down our differences, ages and incomes and all those things. They're real. I'm not denying that. They're real. But that doesn't define us. It doesn't have to define us. So if you're, a lot of you on the East Coast, if you want to come and hear me speak, come and to the R Village. They're giving a lot of seminars. If you are in a RV, and a bunch of you are out there, and so they're the experts. I'm not an expert at RVs at all. They have 80 acres available for tent camping and boondocking. I don't know that there's a lot of boondocking nearby there. Tallahassee National Forest is quite a distance to the west. There's good boondocking in the Tallahassee National Forest. I've boondocked there, but it's still, I don't know how far, maybe an hour or two over there. And they're offering a discount code to our group, a discount code of 10% off of everything by using the code CRVL10. That's boondocking, water, and day use. So 10% off if you use that code. Here is a link to the rally website. You want to know more? It is at R Village Rally. All one word. R Village Rally. Only one R. RVILLAGERALLY.com. And then all your information is there. Sue Ann's going also. And while we're there, we would like to start working on structure. I've always wanted to work in the East. I get people ask me a lot, why aren't you on the East Coast? There's tons and tons of nomads on the East Coast. Why aren't you there? And I want to be, but there's only one of me, and I can't be in both places. So, and my heart is here in the West. It's not ever going to be in the East. So I'm in the West. But that doesn't mean I don't want to work and serve and help people out East very much. But I just don't have the time and energy to do both. So what Sue Ann and I would like to do while we're there, this is one of our prime motivations in taking the trip, is to create a leadership structure. Not just looking for volunteers, but people who will help us to create an organization. We all hate the idea of an organization. We don't want, we just help people. That's all you should do, is just help people. You should have no employees. You shouldn't have a website. Nothing else. As soon as you get money, you just give it to people. Nothing else. That's wrong. That's not the way America in 2020 works. It takes an organization and a structure. Believe me, I wish we could get away from organization. We have meetings coming out of the yin yang, and we gotta do it. All these things we're doing take time and organization and structure. If we have 100 volunteers at the RTR, we have to have a list of all of them. We have to have their contact info. We have to have their emergency contact info. If there's an emergency problem, we have to know who to call. On and on and on and on. There's an unlimited amount of bureaucracy required in all these things. I wish there wasn't, but there is. And we can't do a van giveaway and a van build without an organizational structure of some kind. So we can't do anything without some kind of organizational structure back east. So I'd love to do an RTR there and more events, small local events, but that means there has to be someone there to search out the site, to interact the owners of the site, if it's public land, with the BLM, the National Forest, the Corps of Engineers, who it is, the state park system. We have to talk to them. They need contact. They need information. We need to do a lot of research. We need someone there who will be the legs on the ground. There's got to be boots on the ground, and it's not going to be me because I'm busy where I'm at. So, and we don't want to overwhelm people. That's one thing we've seen is we can't overwhelm people or they give up on us, and rightfully so. You're not looking for a job. That's the problem. When I talked to Sue Ann about doing this with me for the HOWA. She said, I think of this as make this decision. I'm not retiring. I'm working full-time plus, and literally plus, 80 hours a week for the next 3 years. And no one's going to do that. And Sue's not being paid. I'm not being paid. But I don't expect any of you to do that. So we need a large group who will share the load. No one's working too hard. Maybe you each put in 10 hours a month, and you can live with that. So we need a lot of people. The bottom line is, I talked way too much there, didn't I? We are looking for an organizational structure. We are meeting. We'd like you to contact us. You probably should contact us through HOWA, right?
Yeah.
So, go to homesonwheelsalliance.org and contact us. The contact information was all there. And we will talk to you and set up a time to meet with you. We're having a general informational meeting on February 22nd. Do we have a date and a location?
We don't have a location, just the date.
February 22nd. It'll be near Live Oak because that's where our village rally is. So we'll be in that ballpark. Maybe somewhere between Tallahassee and what's the next big town over there? I forget. Yeah. Well, Jacksonville will be on the other coast. So yeah, that somewhere between Tallahassee and Jacksonville. That's a big, probably near Tallahassee, although that might be colder up there. But there is a lot of boondocking in the Tallahassee National Forest, and you're right on the coast. And so somewhere, we'll announce that later. But if you're interested in coming and meeting us, please do Saturday, February 22nd. Bob wants to, let's see. Okay, I am doing tours and videos of rigs. And if you would like, and I'm being pretty open, pretty much doing anybody that says I'd like you to shoot I'm willing to have you shoot a tour and interview with me. So if you would like to have me shoot a video with you, what I try to do is shoot them all in January, February, and March, and then I don't have to shoot any more the rest of the winter, the rest of the year, because we're all here in this one spot. It's easy to do it here. I did 4 a couple days ago, and I did 3 yesterday, I think. I'm going to probably do 2 or 3 more tomorrow or on Friday. So I would like to do a bunch of them. When I leave here, come spring, when it gets too hot, I'd like to have at least 50 interviews shot and in the can, and then we'll start slowly editing them out and dispersing them. So if you want to be on a tour with me, I'd love to. The more interesting your rig, the more interesting your story, the better. People will, and my goal is always to teach and inspire. So if you have an inspiring story, if you've done something a little different, then that is really what I'm looking to build the community as a service to the community. All these things I see as services to the community. I just did one where it was a no-build. She had all furniture. She had gone to the thrift store and bought all of her furniture, including her bed, and at a thrift store, and it was fantastic. Cost her less than $200 for the entire interior. So things like that are helpful, teachable. You contact Trina, crvl@gmail.com. That's TRENNA, and then the letters CRVL, no spaces, @gmail.com. TRENNA, CRVL@gmail.com. We'll have a list. We'll put you on the list, and we'll get in touch with you. You need to be in the ballpark of Quartzsite, Parker. I might get down to Yuma and do some down there. Okay. We have the RTR pre-event is coming up on January 13th. So 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th is the WRTR. And then the RTR mixed group starts at the 18th. So, but the 13th is the day before. You can come up. And we're going to have booths, tables. They're not really, well, maybe there'll be booths. I don't know. Set up all around with different regions. So there'll be a booth for the Plumosa area, for the Skadden Wash area, for the Roadrunner area, for the Dome Rock area. What am I missing? What's the one halfway in between there? High Jolly. So we'll have one of those set up. And if you're camping in High Jolly, go there, sign up, and you can meet people. That's what we want to connect people together, just informally. We're not doing anything formally, or then we'd need a permit. But this puts you together. This says who else is from our group is meeting, and where can I go camp with them and make friends? And that's the whole idea. Build bonds. build community. And believe me, it's an amazing thing. I hear over and over again. I went to the RTR. I met people just grabbed me in and took me in, and we became friends, and we've become bonded buddies, and we stay in touch. We didn't travel together all year, but we stayed in touch, and now we're back together again. And I'm not alone, and I've got friends and a community to go to. Some people even travel together all the time. It's just really up to you. You can arrange carpools on the pre-event on the 13th. You can just learn the lay of the land and before it gets busy. You can get your name button. We hand out name buttons. You can pick up your stickers. We really are asking you to give a $5 donation. If everybody gives a $5 donation, then we'll be fine. I'm altogether too aware, having done this 10 years, that most of you won't. So please, if you can give more, please give more. But please, it's not too much to ask for a $5 donation. We'll give you a sticker, a CRVL, an RTR, or a HOWA sticker. And so that's $5. So it's free. Please support us. This thing costs a lot of money. We're paying the art. We still have to pay for the fairground. That isn't free. They're not just handing that out, and they're not providing the toilets. We're still paying for porta potties and the pumping and the cleaning at the porta potties. We're hauling our own trash. So we still have a lot of expenses, and the money's coming from somewhere. And if the RTR can cover itself, or even make a little money, then that money can go to giving away minivans or buying land for all of us to use. It can go to a lot of good reasons. But if we're putting it all into the RTR, and that's just the way you can support us, please do. We also have t-shirts for sale. Another way you can support us. You get something real and tangible for your support. Directions to the fairground are available at homesonwheelsalliance.org/2020RTRS. Go there, and all the information you can need is there. The women's RTR starts Tuesday, January 14th. It's 4 days. Sessions include, and it's mostly small group. It's all small groups, isn't it? You have one organized big meeting?
At the WRTR?
Yeah.
Every morning there's an organized big meeting.
Oh, one organized big meeting every day. And then there are lots of small groups. They do small group sessions. We're doing that also at the RTR, the whole mixed group as well. A lot of small groups. I think that'll work really well. Some sessions include women's hygiene, women's safety, basic car maintenance, basic solar, safe food storage without refrigeration. That'll be interesting. Do-it-yourself van builds, food preparation on the road, a sound journey with Gong Gypsy. And I did the sound journey with Gong Gypsy, and it was one of the most amazing experiences of my life. Really amazing. And much more. It ends on Friday, January 17th with a potluck at 11 a.m. More information, homesonwheelsalliance.org/2020RTRS. Support the RTR and WRTR with a $5 donation. We estimate our expenses this year will be $15,000. Please donate $5 if you can. Many won't. I just tell you that. I know it for a fact from experience. And so if you can give 5, 10, 20, 100, if you are in that situation, then please do, to help up for some of those who won't, who can't. And if you can't, don't. I'm not asking you to. Don't take care of yourself first. If you would like to go to support the RTR and WRTR with a $5 donation or even more, go to howa.rallyup.com/2020RTRS. And we are doing sweepstakes at the RTR. A way to support us. Two friends of HOWA and the nomad community are donating products for us to run as sweepstakes. You can win an electric off-road bike by Electric E-Bikes. That's a bike I tested sometime this last year. You can go and see that test on my website, not on the website, on YouTube. Electric E-Bikes. It's a fantastic little bike, and they're giving one away All you have to do is buy a ticket, and you can get it. Or We Roll out of Florida are donating one of their trailers. Now, it's not a completely converted trailer, but it's a lot of the hard stuff's all done. You just have to move in, move your furniture in as well. They have insulated. They put a floor in. They've got windows and a vent. That's all in and done. And that, believe me, that's the hardest by far part of converting a trailer, is doing the insulation, the walls, the vent, and the windows. You really got to have windows. That was the first thing I did, was put in windows in my cargo trailer. And to enter, go to http://howa, HOWA, the initials, .rallyup.com. We use RallyUp. They're a sweepstakes organization. That way we have nothing to do with it. We don't, no one can say it's fixed, it's rigged. We have nothing to do with it. We set it up. You send all your money to them. They disperse it to us. Then they get a percentage, of course.
You said the drawing's on May 13th.
Oh, and the drawing is on May 13th in Pahrump. They can come, can't they?
Yes.
Yep, you can join us on May 13th for that drawing. We're going to do it in Pahrump, Nevada. Oh, let me quickly say that the electric bike will be with us in Pahrump, but because that's easy to drive around. But the We Roll trailer, you must pick it up in Ocala, Florida. Tom, the owner of, great guy who's supporting Howa very strongly. We really are indebted to Tom at We Roll. So we encourage you to look at their products and give serious thought to buying a We Roll trailer. You'll have to pick that up at Ocala. That's where you're going to have to pick it up at. Or you could arrange shipping, but shipping's expensive, which is why we're not shipping it. So that's Howa, HOWA.rallyup.com. Are we announcing a minivan build yet?
You can give people a heads up.
Yeah, we're planning a minivan build. We like to do them in the spring and the fall. They're both in Pahrump, aren't they? We have the situation for us in Pahrump works really well, so that's where we like to do them. Well, the big thing is there's a Home Depot right there, and so that's really important. And so we believe everything is set and in motion to donate to you 2 minivans. We're probably not set up to start taking applications, are we? No, we don't have that app up yet. After the RTR, we'll do that. It's too busy right now. And I think there's a very distinct possibility that we'll have a box truck to give away, although that's not in any way certainty. Probably shouldn't be saying that.
We won't. It's a Canadian truck. So.
Oh, we aren't going to. If it works out, that won't happen. So that's too bad. But we hope to have 2 mini, well, we either will or we won't. We won't do it if we don't. And we should have 2 minivans. And the details aren't certain enough for me to be too firm with that yet.
Last 2 weeks of April.
And that will be the last 2 weeks of April in Pahrump. And then on May 13th, we'll do the giveaway of the electric bike and the We Roll trailer. Okay. I think I'm done. Yay. Everyone out there is going, finally, will you ever stop? Answer my question. That's all I want, Bob. Just answer my question. Okay, I will. Sundance Carmen. I'll be doing my own simple van build out. I live in Florida. How should I insulate? This is controversial. I'm going to give you my own opinion. You have to understand it's my own opinion. It's my own preferences. It's my own, I could be wrong. Take that. How about if I just say that? I could be wrong. I think if you live in when heat is your major issue, and in Florida, it's about your only major issue. It does get cold. I mean, it gets freeze warnings in Florida, and that's a big thing. If they get a freeze warning, it goes out to everyone in all the counties where it's going to happen, because all those oranges are going to freeze and your flowers are going to freeze, and people go out and cover their bushes, and it's a big deal. It doesn't do it very often, but it does do it. Your heat is the deal. I would suggest that you do not insulate. And I know a lot of people will disagree. If you live in a cold country and it's equally a problem with heat and cold, yes, insulate. Uh, you cannot keep the heat out of a rig unless you are uh, using air conditioning to create cold inside it somehow. So if you're throwing in air conditioning, then you should insulate wherever you are. If you're going to heat it and cool it with air conditioning, you should definitely have heat. If it's mostly heat, very little cold, don't insulate. Here's why. The heat's coming in. You can't keep heat out. If it's 95 degrees outside, it's going to be 95 degrees inside. And 95 is routine. And the humidity. Oh my goodness. 95 and 95% humidity. It's miserable beyond words in a van. I can't imagine how anyone does it in Florida. I was there long enough to have experienced that. And I was at my mom's the first year she was diagnosed with her Alzheimer's. And so boy, I couldn't be out in the van. I just couldn't be in the van. It was just too hot. It's going to get that hot. It's going to be at least 95. If you're in the shade and you insulate and you've done everything you can do, you cover the windows, you hang tarp all over it, whatever, silver around it, it's going to be 95 degrees. And then everything inside the van is going to absorb that heat and it's going to slowly release it overnight. And it won't ever cool down because it's slowly releasing. And the insulation that didn't keep the 95 out, it cannot unless you have air conditioning. It's going to be 95 inside. Then the heat will keep the heat in. It'll do a good job of that. I don't recommend insulation if you're only in hot country. But a lot of people will tell you I'm wrong. So you are on your own, forming your own opinion. I would say put in a Reflectix with the 1/2-inch air gap between the metal sidewalls and a 1/2 inch in, put in the Reflectix. I think that will cool the van, but it'll still be 95 degrees. The van will always be 95 degrees if it's 95 outside. You can't do it. You can't stop that from happening. I've insulated my vans and they always reach outside temperature. It might keep it from being 120 when it's 95 outside. It will do that. But if it's 95, it's going to be miserable overnight because you can't release the heat. That's my opinion, and take it with a grain of salt. Eugene Brindle, solar question. I purchased a Renogy system, 200 watts of solar panels, feeding 200 amp hours of AGM batteries. There was a fuse width of the kit that I bought, but no switch disconnect. Fuse width of the kit. What is the purpose of a disconnect switch? And if I don't have one, what are the problems I might have in the future? P.S. I'm not running an inverter on this system. Well, the fuse is the disconnect. I'm assuming that it was either a couple of ways that you could have got a fuse with a Renogy kit. They could have given you a inline blade fuse, ATC, is that what that's called? Whatever it is, it's an automotive type fuse. It's got the little two blades and you push it in and pull it out. That's the disconnect. You pull that out, you've broken this connection, there's no more power. That's the disconnect. The other common, Renogy I know also sends out a fuse that goes directly into the MC4 connector. And the fuse is in there. And again, the way you would disconnect it is just because you just pull it out the MC4. And you can always disconnect the panels. Almost all panels anymore come with MC4 connectors. You can just always disconnect the MC4 up on the roof and you're disconnected. So no, I don't think a disconnect is any issue at all. The fuse will act like a disconnect, and if not, the MC4. There are people that put in a fuse block going into from the panel to the controller uses a disconnect. It seems like redundancy to me. I don't think it's any big deal. But it's there. I mean, it's not that hard. You just strip and crimp a couple wires, and there you've got a disconnect. And you can use anything as a disconnect. You could use an AB switch, a cheap AB switch. You could put in one of the little, the automotive switches on and off, rocker switches, like maybe they're called that. I don't know. It's no big deal. You just cut the line, and before it's all connected, cut the line, wire in a simple on and off switch, and strip and grip them on. And then you got an on-off switch. I don't think it's any big deal. I wouldn't worry about it. I have never done that. I've never put in an on-off switch on any of mine. Von Norden, any advice for the people trying to downsize, declutter, but are getting overwhelmed with the whole process? Keep, yes, that's a hard one. And I understand it is a really hard one. It's a hard one for all of us. You aren't alone in that. There are a few people who are inherently minimalist and frugal, but living like that. But for most of us, it's a learned thing we make ourselves do. Keep the end product in mind, that this thing keeps you from what you want. So there's nothing wrong with stuff. There's nothing wrong with having stuff. Not having stuff won't make you any happier. And that's really important. People miss that. Buying more stuff will not make you happier. You think it will. We all hope it will. We keep trying, and it always fails. Getting rid of stuff won't make you happier either. And there's this illusion that we have, a lot of us have, I think, that if I get rid of stuff, I will be happier, and you won't. Stuff can't make you happy or make you unhappy. The debt can make you unhappy, but it just doesn't. We give stuff too much power. It's the goal you're moving toward. It's that life of freedom and travel and adventure, of true community. That will make you happy, truly happy. Spending that time in nature, that will make you happy. And these things prohibit you from that life. So focus all your thoughts and energy on the life you're going to have. The joy of waking up in a beautiful place. The joy of traveling to anywhere you want to, anytime you want. The freedom of that life, that's what you're after. And then compare that. And making friends and that connection, and then compare what you're moving toward and this thing that stands in your way. It should, if you've got the right vision in your mind of what your life can be, it should make this thing pale in comparison so much that you say, oh, I don't care about this. Let me junk that right now. I hope that will work for you. It doesn't always. Sometimes it's such a new life that you haven't really visualized exactly what it's going to be. So the vision of what you're moving toward isn't as powerful. But I think that's the best thing I can offer you. It's just got to go. One thing you can do is I have a video with Tommy where he built in his bedroom of the van. Move into the van and see how little fits in there. Boy, he set a dresser at one end as the back wall, and put, I think, some boxes or something on the front wall, and then he made the other wall, and that was his van, and he had to live in there, and everything had to fit. And that will show you just that all this stuff you love keeps you from your goal, from your ultimate best life. I can have this crap, or I can have my best life. What's most important to you? And you have to build that vision up in your mind and make it worth it. And it may work for you and it may not. I can't promise you anything, but I hope that helps. Deborah Hopkinson, in the handicap parking area at the fairgrounds, is it just car van parking, or is there space for wheelchair users with a motor home but no towed? There's plenty of room for RV parking. Handicap parking for RVs. Yeah, plenty of room. Not an issue. We are very concerned with handicap parking. There'll be enough for you, even if you're in RV and no tote. If it is just car van parking, is there loose sand? How about getting a powered wheelchair in?
It's all hard packed and almost 100% flat.
Sue-Ann's here with me. She knows all this stuff, and I'm a big dummy. She says it's almost all packed, hard packed, and you won't have any problem. We are thinking about you. It's serving the handicap community is very important to us, and so we're all just one minor accident away from being where you are. So it will be okay. We promise you. If it's not, we'll work really hard at finding a way to make it okay. But we believe it's not going to be a problem at all. Maybe next year, people with wheelchair vans, lifts could volunteer as shuttles from the parking areas to the event area. Is it very far they have to go, Sue-Ann?
No, it's directly adjacent.
Yeah, I think you may be exaggerating in your mind how big of a problem it's going to be. We were thinking about you. Um, Come and give it a shot, and if you have a problem, let us know, and we'll work on a way to fix it. We don't think you're going to have any problem. Okay. Jill asks, please address how safe are state parks in New Mexico. Are there a lot of issues there regarding homelessness? We are looking forward to RVing in the state parks and our newbies. Thanks. I haven't spent a lot of time in their state parks, so I can't really give you an absolute answer. I can say most of them are kind of remote. I can't imagine there being homeless there. Uh, the state parks are where it's pretty. A lot of them are on, surprising number of them are on lakes, and they're not they're not in downtown Albuquerque. I can't imagine that homeless would be an issue. I really can't. They cost, although if you have a rig and you buy the $225 park pass, and if you're a resident, it's even less. I think it's a lot less. Then they're technically they're not homeless anymore. We're the homeless. According to them, we're the homeless ones because we don't have homes. So are you and I going to be a problem? I don't think we will be. I think that is really a fear that you're kind of conjuring in your mind, and I would really encourage everyone out there, avoid conjuring any more fear up in your mind than you really need to. It doesn't make for a good life. I don't think you're going to have any problem. I've never heard anyone say they had a bad experience. It was just awful. It's a good place. It's a great program. I think it's going to be just fine. Dan Canoodle. I'm sorry, Dan. I'm slaughtering your name, I'm sure. I can't come to the RTR until Saturday the 19th. How can I get my sticker and find somewhere to camp with? Well, we have a page on the website, the homesonwheelsalliance.org website, where you can go, and people are they're listing their locations, and you can go and join them. And the booths, the tables will be up all through the RTR, won't they? No, just the 13th.
Pick up their sticker at the Howa booth if they've made the donation.
Right, you can get their sticker at the Howa booth. That's not a problem. So come on when as soon as you get there, come by and you'll get a sticker.
And they can go to the virtual bulletin board on the Howa website.
And it's homesonwheelsalliance.org / virtual bulletin board. What? Bulletin dashboard. I'm not. My memory is not a thing of joy to me at all. Okay, let's say that all over again. homesandwheelsalliance.org / virtual bulletin board. Is that right? Almost? Perfect. I got it. How about that? I got to laugh at myself or I'll be crying a lot. My memory is bad enough that it concerns me. Okay. And yes, so the virtual bulletin board is where you can go, and we have a lot of people connected. And you drive around. I think if you drive around with a CRVL sticker, you're going to see a lot of them. People will take you in. This is such a loving and caring community. Loving isn't the right word. We're in this thing together. It's a bonded community. I think that's a better word. It works. All I know is we're a community, the way in the truest sense of the word community. Terry Novak, can we get our sticker will we mail stickers? No, we won't. You can go to Teespring. Well, if you've paid your $5 as a donation, no, you have to come and pick it up. But you can go to Teespring. I wonder what the address is to Teespring. Can you look that up for me?
I think I know what it is.
Oh, teespring.com / stores / Cheap RV Living Store. That's all one word. You can go there and buy a sticker and have it sent to you. But yes, I think if you, I got to fly, crap. I think if you sent your $5 in, you won't get one. You have to pick it up in person at the RTR. Sorry about that. But hopefully you're glad you supported the RTR anyway. Nightshade, do you ever get lonely? If I was ever alone, I would. This life I've chosen for myself, it's bizarre. As I get older and the more I'm around people, and I have to be around people a lot, I have I have just a craving need to get out and be alone. So no, I am never lonely. My need for alone time is never satisfied. But loneliness has never, well, it was a big issue for me before I became a nomad. But since I've been a nomad, no, it hasn't been an issue at all. Okay, you got to go. You go away. Since I've been a nomad, loneliness has not been an issue for me at all. You don't have to be. And the big thing about, I call the relationships we build out here as nomads bungee cord relationships. And that bungee cord can stretch a long, long ways, thousands of miles, and great amounts of time. And then when it draws us back together, usually every fall in the desert, it's like we never parted. So it really kind of eliminates that loneliness, because I am bonded to so many people. I mean, when I say that, I mean you. If you come out here and you will allow yourself to do it, you can be bonded to so many people, these strong bungee cord relationships, that you don't have to be alone. You can be alone and flourish in your aloneness. And then when you can come back together, you can flourish in your groupness. And I know that sounds weird and it sounds make-believe, but there is a coyote right there. That's a coyote right there. I wonder if I can get that. Can I make this thing turn around? Yeah. There is a coyote. You see the coyote?
Where?
Right there. Right there.
Oh my God.
I've never seen anything like it. And I can't turn them. You're not going to see it with this wide. I've never, well, that's not true. I used Cody. Cody wants a coyote. No, Cody. Come on. Did I walk you in?
Code?
Yeah, no. Let me give you a code. Sorry, folks. That's so strange that I've had I knocked off my mic. Sorry about that. My mic's been on all the time. How strange. I got a coyote right here. Come on. Go. In you go. How strange. Okay. I can't control the lenses. I have a longer telephoto lens on this, and I don't know. I don't think I can control it while I'm live. And he's out of sight now anyway. When I started moving around, I spooked him. Wow, I've never. Well, that's not true. I've been in camps where I've had coyotes right in camp before. When I had my last dog, let me turn this around. Now you're gonna be looking up my nose. When I had my last dog, Homer, I don't know why, he really attracted coyotes. He was a very big dog. He was 80 pounds of pure muscle. Very, very athletic dog. Amazing dog. I loved Homer so much. And for some reason, we had coyotes around all the time. I don't know why. It was in Pahrump, too. Maybe that's why we had so many coyotes around. I gotta get this thing locked in again. Wish I could have. Now you're probably not listening to me. Still plugged in. Oh, I lost a clip. Poop. I'll just unplug it. Okay, good. Okay, come on. No, come here. Go. Come here. Come on. No. He runs away if I'm going to force him to be on camera. Silly dog. Okay, sorry. I was hoping I could show you coyote. Yeah, they're here. They're definitely here. And I turned off my iPad, so I lost my place. What were we talking about? I don't know. Okay, and that. And then let's go to there. you ever get lonely? No, loneliness isn't a problem. Guy Orvis, hope to meet you someday, Bob. Still looking for a van, Chevy. How much should I have in reserve for emergency? Is a motor replacement worth it, or should I buy another van? Well, that is a really hard question. It's a good question. I'm not sure there's a good answer, and I don't think the answer is the same. Go away. Got a fly buzzing around me still. I recommend 3,000 as the minimum emergency fund. I've been saying that for a decade. That will. The thing now is you can buy a really good minivan for $3,000. We've been doing it for Homes on Wheels Alliance, and we decide we're going to do a minivan build. We start looking and finding a minivan, a 2,000, or this is our qualifications, 2,000 and earlier, 100,000 miles or less, looks good, drives good, nothing wrong with it that we can see. We take it to a mechanic, he checks it out, and if he passes it, we're prepared to give that away. We can find minivans like that, dime a dozen, for $3,000, almost anywhere. We bought the first one in Medford, Oregon. We bought the second one in Nevada, Reno, I think, or somewhere up there.
Yes.
And we had several donated. So, but we have never had a problem. So if you have $3,000, you can just simply walk away, get salvage value for your old van, and buy. There it is, right there. There's that coyote. That's really amazing. And get salvage value for your old van, whatever that is. Sell it for whatever you can get, and have a brand new minivan for $3,000. And I showed in that one video a no build, $100, $200, you can build out the whole interior. Start all over, no problem. Solar is more. Hopefully you can take the solar off your old van and put it on the new van. But boy, so it's just really hard to. If you have $3,000, you're set.
Where is it now?
He went into the far wash. I just saw him as he was going into it. Did you see him?
I saw him the first time. He was big.
He was a big one, and he looked good, didn't he? He was healthy. He's had a lot of dogs to eat. They do eat dogs. I mean, there's no doubt about it. They will. In fact, there are a lot of major coyotes. Are really an amazing thing. I love coyotes. You know, we wiped out wolves in a heartbeat in this nation. There wasn't a wolf hardly left anywhere, and we cannot kill those crazy coyotes. What's the difference? They're just they're adaptable. Nature, it's the survival of the adaptable, and it really is true. And if you and I are going to survive, and I think things are going to get really, really bad, well, climate change will make things really, really bad, and those who are going to survive are the adaptable. And that means being able to move where the climate is better, not having to be stuck. Nomad's going to thrive in the coming decades of humanity. Okay, so they survived. The coyotes survived because they were so adaptable, and the wolves weren't, so they were easily wiped out. And they do, and there are a lot of big towns, New York, San Francisco. There's a bunch of coyotes. They're living on cats and dogs. It's probably shouldn't laugh at that. I love dogs and cats both. Okay, so emergency fund. Guy Orvis asks. I would say $3,000. I still recommend that. You can buy a brand new minivan. Got a whole new home. No matter what happens, you're going to have a home to just live in. So that is really a good thing.
How much with an older RV?
Oh, I don't recommend older RVs at all. I'm sorry. I kind of used to. I have a friend who, and I do know people who buy older RVs, and they're great. But for every one of those that I know, people buy older RVs and they are garbage pits. They pour the money in and then they throw the RV away, all that money with it. And so the odds of buying a really good older RV are just really poor. The odds of buying one that is a money pit and you lose all your money and you're wiped out are very good. Those odds of that are very good. So I just don't recommend them. My one friend bought an 80s Chevy, older 80s Chevy 350 engine, over 10 years ago now. It was 2010. So it's been 10 years. And he put in one new engine, and he's having some engine problems now. And he's gotten really good service out of it. Nothing else has really been a problem, but that's not the norm. He's one of these guys that takes good care of his rigs. He goes up and he finds every all the caulking that's come loose and any hint of a problem, he fixes it right away. Most of us don't do that. We just wait until we got a leak, and by the time we know there's a leak, we've got a disaster. And so for most of us, it's just not a good idea. I know who wants to live in the space of a minivan, but it's just really the practical, long-term, sustainable way to live. And if you can find a nice, good used van, do that. A full-size van, you get more room. You don't get the gas mileage, but you get an awful lot more room. If you can find one, they're just getting harder and harder to find, and they're more and more expensive. To find a used van, full-sized van, that would be as good as a $3,000 minivan would probably be $6,000 to $10,000, just because they're so scarce. And so it's just going to be that much more. And if you can afford it, then go ahead. Mark Swayze, what year, make, model, engine is your van? I have a 2015 GMC Savannah, pretty much identical to Chevy Express. It's the 4.8 V8. So it's 4.8 liters, and it's the smallest V8. Fantastic engine. I've been very, very happy with it. I was worried it was a little small. It's a 3/4 ton cargo van. I thought it might have been a little small, but it's been just fine. And I love it. I think I think I've got about 65,000 miles on it, and it's just trouble-free. I got it with 12,000 miles. I paid 19,000 for it. It had 12,000 miles. It was a rental. A rental outfit had bought it, ran it for a year and a half or so, and then sold it. That's a common story. It was 19,000. Still had warranty on it. Still had bumper-to-bumper warranty and drivetrain warranty. And that then expired, I think, at 36,000 miles. So it's over now, but I had a full warranty when I bought it. How far wrong could I go? I'm a big fan of doing that. And because Chevy is now it's such an inexpensive van compared to the Transit. The Transit's like 45,000, and you can get a Chevy cargo van for 35. And so they're so much cheaper. There are a lot of companies still buying them, and they're still out there. The Chevy Express cargo vans are common, being sold from rentals. And I recommend them. This one's been superb for me. You have to spend that much money, so you're going to get you can spend 45,000 for a Transit, and it's bigger and nicer and newer, of course. Or you can spend 19,000 for a Chevy van and then 4,000 more and get a high top put on it. And that's my comparison. So then you have less than 25,000 with a high top, with maybe 12,000 miles on it, compared to a brand new Ford Transit high top for 45 or more. To me, it's a good comparison. And the Chevy is so proven. This engine transmission is so proven. It's bulletproof. Bulletproof. You get 200,000 trouble-free and going. And you can't say that about the Transit yet. We don't know. It hasn't been in the U.S. market that long that we can say all is bulletproof. Okay, Beverly Watson, I have a question. Is it true it is illegal to live in a van? No, this is a whole video, and I keep meaning to do this. I saw a YouTube video that someone made saying that it's illegal and his van was converted, and I didn't look like someone lived in it. Oh, it's just not. It's not. It's unfortunately, there's a small element of truth. At the local city level, some cities in some towns have passed laws saying you cannot live in your vehicle. It doesn't matter what the vehicle is. It has nothing to do with your van. It could be an RV. A lot of cities have passed laws saying you can't live in your RV, but they don't discriminate like that. They just say it's illegal to live in your vehicle. So that's your car, it's your minivan, it's your SUV, it's your RV, it's your van. And it's all done on a town-by-town basis. I'm only aware of one county, and there may be more, it's just what I personally am aware of, one county that passed that law in the U.S. Maybe there are more, but it's unusual. It's usually town by town. So yes, there are towns where it is illegal to live in your van. You know what my suggestion is? Don't live in that town. There's lots of towns where it is. What my real suggestion is, don't live in a town, is my suggestion, but I know some of you don't have any choice. You're forced to. Go to a town where it's not illegal. They're few and far between, even in California. There's a lot of them in California. I imagine there's a bunch of them in Florida. Florida's a very anti-homelessness state. Those people hate the homeless there. They're just haters. And those of you who aren't, I hope you can do something about it, because you're lumped in. There's a bunch of haters. And I know you're not all haters in Florida, just the ones who are running the government. The most of them that are running the government, because you're in charge. And that made a bunch of people mad. I'm good at that. I tried to keep amending it, but I still made a bunch of you mad. It is true. Florida hates the homeless. In Florida, if you are an organization that helps the homeless, gives them food, you can be arrested and locked up. That's how much they hate the homeless. That's just something profoundly inhuman about, you try to help someone and I'll lock you up. Okay. And that's what this is. They're out wherever these towns are. They're against the homeless, and so the next step up from the homeless is to live in a vehicle, and it's a big problem. There's no question. Homelessness is an enormous problem. People do poop in the streets. They do dump their tanks. There's a big problem. Hating them, I don't believe, is the answer. Passing laws making them illegal isn't the answer. The courts are ruling more and more. Even this very conservative Supreme Court just struck down a law somewhere, I believe it was probably California, that made, no, I think it might not have been. I might have been in Idaho, Boise, Idaho. I read the article on it. Might have been in Boise, Idaho. They passed a law making it illegal to live in your car, and I believe the Supreme Court struck it down. But it was, it's also technical. That law says that if the city provides shelters, then you have to go to the shelter. And if there aren't enough shelter spaces, you can live in your vehicle. So even that isn't a clear statement that you can live in your vehicle. And I'm just going on my memory on this article that I read about. It's a Supreme Court judgment. It's final law. And by this Trump court, this last 3 months, I think. But if there's a lot of ins and outs on even that law that says you can live in your vehicle, but if there is a shelter space available, you have to go live in the shelter space. In that town, there just aren't enough shelter spaces, and there never will be. So people are living in their vehicles, and that law said that it was legal. And that would then become the law of the land. Supreme Court sets precedent. So that's going to change things. It's a very evolving situation. The ACLU is fighting all of those. You have the right to live in this country, to be alive, and part of being alive is a right to have a place to sleep. And the courts are pretty solidly coming down on that being a basic human right, to live and sleep. And that is being generally interpreted as the right to sleep in your vehicle. Nothing is settled. But the bottom line, and for your question, is there are a few towns in America where it is illegal, and only in those towns is it illegal. Nowhere else. It's not an issue that's broad. It's only covers a few specific towns in America. So mostly what people are saying, this fear-mongering is just that, fear-mongering. There's no truth, no validity to it. They take the slight element of truth about these few places and exaggerate it, and so everyone fears. Get out of the fear, folks. Don't listen to the fear mongers. If you live in that town, it's valid, but there aren't many of those towns. Gail Williams, best way to keep my minivan cool while camping in summer heat? You can't do it. You just can't do it. I'm sorry to say that. If where you're living, it gets up to 100 during the day, your minivan will be 100 inside unless you can run an air conditioner. How can you run an air conditioner? You can have an enormous amount of solar, which you can't have enough in a minivan to run it. You can run an AC. I mean, you can run a generator to run your AC. That's the only option I have. You can go to an RV park and plug in and run an AC. I don't have any other options for you. There just aren't any. Your van will be 100 degrees in the heat. Wherever if it's 100 degrees outside, eventually your van is going to be 100 degrees inside. Now, if you don't take all the steps, put covers on, park in the shade, it'll be 130. The best you can hope for is keep it down to the inside and outside temperature. I'm sorry, that's just the best there is. Brent Stewart asks, what is the cell service in general around the Quartzsite area? I have AT&T and need to stay in range. How is cell service at the RTR? First, at the RTR is pathetically bad. I'm so sorry. We were down to Plan Z, and Plan Z was a fairground, and the fairground has very poor cell coverage. Don't plan on having cell coverage at the RTR event in the fairground. In Quartzsite, both AT&T and Verizon are good and usable, but what happens is so many people flood into Quartzsite, and then every evening they all log on to the AT&T and the Verizon tower, and it slows down to an unusable crawl. So at the peak of the big tent, which starts on the 18th, that's correct, Sue-Ann, it starts on the 18th, and really the week going into, so starting 12th, 11th, 12th, 13th, it gets slower and slower and slower, and at the 18th it bugs down to nothing. It becomes unusable. I remember last year my Verizon was just unusable. AT&T isn't as bad because most nomads use Verizon, so AT&T isn't as bad as Verizon. It may still remain usable. Do you remember, was AT&T usable all last year in Quartzsite?
I didn't have it last year.
Didn't have it. For the most part, AT&T is as good as Verizon. In fact, in that case, it'd be better when Verizon really slows to a crawl at the big tent. I'm on Verizon on my phone, but I have my iPad is on AT&T right now, and it's good. It's perfectly good. I can watch videos on it right here, and I'm next to a Verizon tower. I don't know where the nearest AT&T tower is. It's not right here, but it's close. It's good. Yeah, it's going to be bad. AT&T might be better, might be good and usable the whole time, but it'll be bad. I'm sorry. But at the fairgrounds, it's non-existent. Don't count on using it. Carl J. Brook asks, is there drug and alcohol-free camping area? Drug and alcohol aren't a big issue. There'll be camps where people will drink. You know, there'll be camps where people drink a lot. But there'll be camps where maybe you'll be a dozen people in your area, and one here and one there will be drinking. It won't be an issue. No, first off, we are not scheduling any camping. We can't. Then we'll need a permit. So we aren't controlling camping. But we do know, can we say that there are people who are, well, we have caravans.
Yeah, they're on the virtual bulletin board.
The virtual bulletin board has caravans, and they're not drug and alcohol free. We're not the police. But drunkenness wouldn't be put up with, right? That's fair to say. If you're out there drunk every night at the caravan, we're going to have a problem, and we'll probably see if we can't fix that. People don't want to be around drunks all the time, not in the caravans. So the caravans would be fine, although I think the caravans will all be full, won't they? Are we promoting the caravans?
Yeah, I mean, if they go to the virtual bulletin board, they're there, and I don't think any of them are more than half full right now.
And right now, okay, I hope you probably can't hear what Sue-Ann told me. Right now, none of the caravans are even half full. They have a limit because then we need a permit, and we're not getting permits because it's impossible to deal with the BLM in Yuma. The BLM in Yuma just simply will not deal with us, and it's impossible, and we don't even try. We gave up on them. That's not true of most BLM offices, just the Yuma office, where they really truly seem to hate us.
Don't burn bridges.
Don't burn bridges. Sue-Ann just told me not to burn bridges. Sorry. Deep breath. Count to 10. Serenity now. You remember the Seinfeld episodes where the dad always was going around saying, "Serenity now!" It cracks me up. Serenity now. Yes, go to the virtual bulletin board. You can learn about the caravans. The caravans, I would say, they're not alcohol and drug free. You're the police. We don't tell people how to live. But I don't think they'll be wild drug parties either. I think that's fair to say. Not a bunch of drunkenness all night long either. It's not a drunken party. Uh, People there wouldn't put up with it. It's not an issue. People worry so much about this stuff. If you get there and they're drunk, it's a drunken problem, drive somewhere else. It won't be. It's no big deal. Uh, Maximalist minibus, for kind of a cool name. Uh, Kind of juxtaposition there. It's a real mark of higher thinking to be able to hold a paradox. Maximum minibus. I like that. For those of us on the East Coast who would like to work space toward an RTR type of event on this side of the country, how large of a space should we be looking for ideally? That's a good question, and we would love to do, again, I'd love to do an RTR on the East Coast. I'd love to do RTRs all over the country, all year around. What we need are, if we could do a bunch of them, they wouldn't be huge. The reason we have one huge one is because we only do one a year. If we had 4 a year on the West Coast, 4 a year on the East Coast, none of them would be huge, and we wouldn't need to find a huge space. But the reality is, if we announced an RTR on the East Coast, it would be huge right now. So it needs to hold 10,000 people. It has to be free. It has to have internet. It has to have interesting areas, things to do. There can't be the shopping can't be too far away. Yeah, those are requirements. Let me go over them again slowly. Has to hold 10,000 people. I think any RTR we put together right now would have 10,000 people, with the goal of getting that down. But that's the way it is now. It has to have internet. Most of us aren't going to go where there's the internet. It has to have a place 30 or 40 acres where we can all meet and gather, where probably, I don't think any of our gatherings have ever had more than 1,000. So the gathering space isn't all that large. 30 acres, 40 acres would do a gathering space. We just need camping for 10,000. That's the hard part. The fairground is plenty of space. It's probably 30 or 40 acres, and it's plenty of space for the event. It's just all the camping around it. We can't get anybody camped around up there. It's all too rough. And it's mixed ownership. So if you can find a place where 30 or 40 acres where we could hold the event, and people could do what we're doing now, just disperse camp all around it in National Forest land or Corps of Engineer land. What else is there back east? Or even state park land. There's state parks where people can disperse camp. Then it would work. But there needs to be internet. There needs to be shopping nearby. It needs to be interesting, something to do. At the RTR, the big tents going on, all the vendors are there. I think Quartzsite's an interesting place, so that's mainly why we hold it there. And it's set up for RVing. You know, you can get a dump stations. There's a bunch of dump stations. There's a bunch of places to get water. There's the free landfill there. You can get rid of your trash. The LTVAs are there. You can go camp in the LTVA and have all those services. And you can get a 2-week pass at the LTVA for $40, and then you get all the services. You get the dump station. You don't get hookups. No, you don't ever get hookups at the LTVAs, but you get a dump station. You go dump, and you get dumpsters where you can throw your trash. You get that. And if you're in a van, you get porta potties. Not porta potties, but what are those called? Toilets. You get toilets. Let's just say that. So that's what we needed on the East Coast for RTR. Okay, what is the best solar system for a van, and which one is the easiest to install? Scott asks. It's really impossible to say. The easiest to install is a folding suitcase because there's no installation. You fold it out, you plug it in, you put the alligator clips on the battery, and you're done. That's the easiest. And you get a couple, 3 of those, and that's plenty of power for all of us. And then you'd need your battery. I'd put the battery somewhere in there and run a cable off of it with a quick connect, and well, you're good to go. It's really pretty basic that way. Assuming you want to mount it on your roof, which is by far the better way to do it. A kit, the easiest way to do it is to buy a kit. If you have a full-sized van, you can get a ladder rack and just buy a 2x4 and paint it. Buy a treated 2x4, paint it, mount it on a ladder rack, and then just bolt right into literally you can just drill a hole and bolt it right into the to the 2x4 on the ladder rack. I did that on a van. This couldn't have been any simpler. Anyone can do that. Anyone can install a ladder rack. You can buy a ladder rack for $100. You got to have the drip drip things. I forget my memory. But they're no big deal. If you got a full-size van, almost except Transits and ProMasters, they did away with them. Stupid. Any other van would have them, and so that's easy. It's really easy. Then you just you have to find a way to get through it. Worst comes to worst, you could run it through the door. Just close the door on it. Eventually, that's going to damage it and ruin it, but you can do it for a while. And then it's really simple connections. It's red to red, positive to positive, all the way down from the solar panel to the controller. Mount the controller in a good, convenient place. Put the battery underneath it, red to red, and you're done. Strip and crimp a few cables, and you're done. It's really pretty easy. Always put in a fuse. A kit. Go buy a Renogy kit. That's what I'd recommend. By far the simplest. Make sure you put in a fuse. Sue Andrews, how old is too old for a female to start this lifestyle? Well, age is the old saying, age is a matter of opinion. It's all in your head. It's your body. Your body can limit you. Your age shouldn't limit you. I mean, there are 80-year-old women who can easily do this. But your body, a 90-year-old, and at 80 years old, your body could be that of a 60-year-old. So that's the issue. When your body will allow you, getting in, stooping, lifting things, as long as you can do the physical things, as long as you're safe to drive, you're really safe to drive. You're not just pretending that you are, but you're really safe to drive. You have the mental acuity to safely drive across the country, to deal with problems as they come up. Problems will come up. Then you're not too old. Your body and your mind are young enough, and that can be until your old age, depending on the person. So yeah, don't let a number stop you. Honestly, consider your ability to deal with the physical requirements, which really aren't very high. What's the heaviest thing you would lift? Well, a 5-gallon jug of water. That's very heavy. But you don't even have to lift that. You could buy 1-gallon jugs of water and carry them one at a time. If you can carry a 1-gallon jug of water around in each hand, you're physically able to do it. Can you get in and out? Are you at risk of falling? That's a big one. That's one of the worst things that happens to us as we get old. We tend to fall down a lot. As long as risk of falling and getting in and out exacerbates that, makes it much more likely that you'll fall. Oh, we're quarter after. I see. I got it. It's quarter after. Better quit. 2 more full cards to go. Oh, here's a good question to come up. I'll answer it yet. Oh, Casey, isn't finished. Is it the next question? Denise Klein, Thatcher. What is the best way to find out if it is legal to live in your vehicle in a town or in a BLM land, etc.? Very good question. I'm going to give you a weird answer. Go to the local police station and ask them. I know. Your first thought is, I can't do that. And then you got to stop and think, why can't you do that? There's no one at the police going to arrest you for asking a question. They're not going to beat you and throw you in jail if you go in and ask them if it's legal. And they should know. So honestly, I'd use common sense. I'm being completely serious here. I'm not being a smartass. Park your van farther away so you don't draw attention to yourself. Walk a block up to the police station, walk in and say, officer, there's usually someone there that can answer a question. A lot of times they're just buzzers. But you're a citizen. You can ask a question. And hopefully someone will answer your question. And officer, I'm kind of in trouble. I can't afford to live, pay rent. I'm a good citizen. Here's my name. Here's my driver's license. You're not hiding. You're not cheating. And is it possible I can live in my van in this town? I mean no harm. I'll do anything you require of me. Most of those cops are good people. They've got moms and brothers and sisters who get in trouble. They mean well. Most of them mean really well for all of us. Few bad ones, of course, but there's no getting around the few bad ones. But Most of them are really good people, and they don't mean you harm at all. And you'll find out, and you'll know exactly. That's kind of ballsy to walk into the police station and ask. And I'd be willing, And you know what? You'd be surprised how often they'll start. If you've come to them, in an emergency call, it's the person who calls given the benefit of the doubt first. So you've gone to them. You're not ashamed. You're not hiding. You're standing in front of him saying, I'm doing this. How can I do this so that I don't get in trouble? You're not a bad guy. You'll be surprised how the word won't get out, and especially in a smaller town. This person is there living in this van. She's okay. He's okay. No problem if you keep your eye out and protect them. They're a good guy. Offer to be eyes and ears in that area. I've had police come to my door. When I lived in Anchorage, I was Stealth Park for 6 years. And I've had police come to my door and say, hey, I work nights a lot, and so I'd sleep during the day. And I'd go to the city park. It was legal. It's not illegal to be in a park during the day, even if you're asleep. It's only illegal to sleep overnight in the park. And I had cops stop me and say, you can't sleep here. And I said, officers, during the day, am I really doing anything wrong? And he had to admit, no, I wasn't. I don't sleep here at night. I leave, and I went to work. But at sundown, I left. And that wasn't illegal. And so I had cops come to my door and say, hey, we had a crime over here. Did you see anything? You can be their eyes and ears. And if you're the good guy, you might find that you get cooperation. They will tell you, yeah, this is safe here. Go there. We'll make sure you stay safe. And they'll be working for you, not against you. I think there's a very good chance that can happen. Worst comes to worst, he says, no, it's illegal. If you do it anywhere, we will catch you and we'll chase you away. But at least you've had an honest conversation. You know what's going on. And why not do that? Now, say that's too hard for you, and that is pretty hard. Go and ask the local Walmart. If they enforce anywhere, they'll enforce at Walmart. If they're not enforcing at Walmart, they don't enforce anywhere. If they are enforcing, that still doesn't mean you can't get away with it. It just means that they enforce at Walmart. Try Sam's Club if there's one in town. It's amazing how often a Sam's Club will be across the street from a Walmart, and you can park overnight. You can't ever camp. Don't ever camp. But you can park overnight quietly, stealthily, not doing anything to draw attention to yourself at the Sam's Club across the street. I've done it lots of times. We're posted all over the Walmart. No camping. Drive across the Sam's Club. No one says a thing. There's that coyote again. Man, he's hanging around. I hope we get done here in time. I'll get my camera out. I don't have any good shots of a coyote. That's just amazing how he's hanging around here. So go to the Walmart and ask them. Go to the Home Depot. Go to, I tell you, one of my favorite, all-time favorite stealth parking places is in a 24-hour grocery store, because there are employees in there overnight. They're open. There have to be employees. The cops come and go. And because they're employees, if you find where the employees park and you observe it for a while, and you'll see, you park with the employees. And no one knows. If the employees won't even know. They don't know who drives what. I knew when I worked overnight, I knew several of what they drove. Well, my co-workers drove in, but I didn't know where all of them were. So that would work. That's my favorite. If you go and ask a store manager at a grocery store, 24-hour grocery store, can I camp overnight here? You say, sure. No one, I don't care. Go ahead. You'll be fine. He's behind the tree now. He's on the other, came up from the wash, and he's behind the tree.
Oh, okay.
It's really cool. I'm really amazed by this. He's come back.
Yeah, I'm keeping my door shut.
Oh yeah, me too. Cody's inside.
You have one more card too.
I'm not going to get to all of them. The last one, that was the good question. I answered it. But card 3 had one that looked good, but it didn't finish it. Oh, now I've got it. Is it safe for a single woman to have something that can't drive away in? True, I think. I was thinking Class C, but here's stories about the many breakdowns. She can't drive away in. So I think what you're asking, and this is a very good question, for everyone, it's not just women. If you're in a trailer and there's something going outside at night that scares you, to get it and drive away, you have to leave the trailer, walk up front, get in the car, and drive away. You have stepped out into the danger. If you're in a van or a Class B or a Class C or a Class A, you don't have to get outside to go to the door to drive away. If something is going on outside at night, it scares you, just drive away. You can just work your way up front, get in the front seat, turn the key really fast, drive away really fast, and you're safe. So there is a strong element of safety. Having said that, I don't know anyone who has ever had to do that. Do you know anyone who has, Sue Ann?
Yes.
You had someone that kind of happened to you that you did it with a tent?
I didn't do it, but it was an option.
Right. It's rare that it happens, but and I know you've told that story before. Let's not tell it again, but
No.
there's an element of safety that makes you feel so much better that it is definitely safer. Now, your second part of your question is, if I buy a Class C, because I can do that in a Class C, and that's one of the great things about a Class C, do they break down a lot? I hear they break down a lot. Older RVs, the biggest problem with older RVs is leaking, but that would never keep you from driving away. That would just be something you had to get fixed right away before it rots and becomes an enormous problem. That's really the issue. And also, if you buy a cheap Class C, they put in cheap materials, really cheap materials in some of them. You pay a lot of money, you get really cheap materials sometimes, and things break, and things are always breaking. But then again, you can buy one and then never have a problem with it, even ever. So who knows? There's no generalization. Depends on how much you can spend and luck. Did you get an RV to check it out? I mean, an RV tech to check it out? I know someone who got an RV tech to check it out, and he said everything was great, and everything broke within the year. Even after the tech said it was all good, it all broke. It was amazing. It was stunning. I was there when the RV tech told her everything is good. And she said, I'll pay you to fix anything broken. He said, I can't take your money. Everything works great. All of it broke within the year. So it's a crapshoot. It's crap. That person bought her next RV, and it's been trouble-free. Which is the truth? Will be your experience? I don't know. I just don't know. The safety is a big issue, and it will really help. And I think it'll help you feel better, which is as important as anything, just to alleviate your fear. And Class C's don't have to all break. A bunch of them don't. Will yours? I don't know. I'm sorry. That doesn't help you. I got to stop. It's way late. 4:20. Boy, we went really long. Okay, folks, thanks so much for watching. I hope you got something out of all this. If you did, like us on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. Oh, I got to put on Bubbles. There's Bubbles. Oh, they're coming up. Bubbles, and I'll dance. I can't go out without dancing. This is how I dance. That's the best I can do. Old white men can't dance, or at least this old white man can't dance. And we'll talk to you later.